Hi, my name is Victor Fatomi, Far for short, co-founder and CEO at Full Canvas and Full Gap. That's the one-liner, but in reality, I'm just a chill guy. Yeah, if you're watching this in 2025, you probably get the joke. Um, for me, my journey has been that story of every kid is born an artist, and only a few get to keep it that way. I was always drawn into the covers of books and the illustrations of dictionaries and encyclopedias and the Bible versions, the tens and hundreds of them that filled the library at home. I spent time in the library. I'm sure my dad was proud thinking I was reading, but I was looking at the photos and the drawings. If the book had no drawing, it was a bad book for me. And I was really drawn to the almanacs, that's what it was called, the calendars and the hung on the walls and January changed to February to March and it had different visuals. It was from different banks that my dad had accounts with, and I always wondered, who made all these things? I'd like to make these things one day. To date, I still never designed a calendar, by the way. But I never aspired to be a graphic designer or a brand communications or brand strategist. Startup founding will come at a later time, but I never aspired to any of these things. I wanted to be a pharmacist, an architect that was close in a way to my talent in a way, right? At some point, I wanted to be a sailor. I don't know, maybe I saw a movie and the idea of going far away just seemed very attractive. If I was watching the Super Eagles, I wanted to be a if you said footballer, you were wrong because I knew very early on I wasn't that skilled because I didn't get picked up on the streets when we were playing football. That is the time I sneaked out of the house to play on the street. I wanted to be a referee. At some point, I wanted to be a football coach. I wanted to be about 100 different things depending on who was asking and what mood I was in. I never wanted to be a graphic designer or branding anything, let alone startup founder, because it had to be the things that I could see. I could only dream in the lines of things that were around me. So roles and careers of my dad's friends and my brother's friends or sisters' friends, parents, the stories I heard in boarding house. But it started to change when I got to uni, and my brother ran a magazine and he paid people to design, and these people were being paid to be graphic designers, and that was for me the first time I realized that there was something that seemed close to all the artistic things I did in my 52 leaves exercise books back then. That was actually a career, and that was the beginning. I played with the software on my computer, and then I started to design for my course mates. I started to redesign everything I could find, redesign my department's association's logo, faculty, church, hostel, businesses of friends, some of them for free, some of them for as low as 500 naira. And, and I started to have some relatively more serious clients on campus, businesses of fellow students in tech. They were like tech ideas being brewed by certain students, and I was very curious of what they were up to. And I would always play my part as the designer, come up mostly with their logos and other visual materials that could complement what it is they were trying to do. And so that was the start for me. All of this was on the campus of Federal University of Technology, Akure. I didn't eventually finish. I didn't eventually finish. I dropped out from uni. I was so engulfed with this new love I had found, which my course had nothing to do with. Do it right. Um, all of this happened on the campus of the Federal University of Technology, Akure. I was studying estate management, and I was so engulfed in this new thing that I had fallen in love with. I didn't have time for school any longer. I do not recommend, but yeah, that's my story. The journey to Fort Canvas began right on campus. I called it Victor Gold Creations. It was really, uh, first, I designed my posters when I ran for Student Union. I won, I was director of sports. And after Students' Union, I got more popular as well on campus, designing posters for fellow students. So it was Victor Good Creations. Then I met Bolaji, became a little more serious, and then we called it VGC Media. And at some point, when we started to understand and pay more attention to not just the designs, but brands and the idea of standing out and having an identity, we thought that VGC Media was lost in the VGC in Lagos, BBC and TVC, and we said we wanted to create a brand for ourselves, and that gave birth to Fourth Canvas. Started in 2015. It was a challenging start, a lot of decisions to make. We had great people early on. I was stabbed in 2016. I almost lost my life, but God saved me, and I came back with new enthusiasm for what we were doing. And over the years, we started to grow our clientele. We're working out of Akure. Eventually, we moved to Lagos in 2020. Our work in the tech ecosystem became more prominent, and we started to advise business founders, not just designing for them, but helping them to think through their brand, their identity, their message, their role in the grand scheme of things, how they communicated their value proposition. And so we became more of a brand consultancy. Today we identify as a brand strategy and design agency. In the midst of all of this, we had to combine tools and processes to implement the structure of a business. Remember, for me, as a graphic designer on campus, carrying my bag, I just wanted to design and do cool stuff. It's just creative stuff. I didn't really appreciate a lot of like straight lines and points to points. All of those systems seemed too boring for me. That was Bolaji's business. But then the thought was, how can we automate this and make this attainable for many other micro businesses, consultants, freelancers, small businesses out there? And that gave birth to FullGap. So with FullGap, we packed all of things we'd learned with processes and systems inside the creative business in a way that could be replicated in a simple way, automated for small businesses everywhere. So today we have fashion designers, consultants, HR consultants, people in the auto mechanics industry, people in the digital creative space as well, across different sides of small business, micro business, solo entrepreneurship, as well as like medium scale businesses, being able to automate invoicing, contracting, project management, all in one place, and that's become FullGap. So today, I'm somewhat of a serial entrepreneur because I still lead the team at Fourth Canvas and at FullGap. But for me, it's all one same thing. It's about continuously finding my voice and helping others find their voice. So in the leadership of people, both in Fourth Canvas and FullGap, with Fourth Canvas, collectively, we're helping our clients find their voice. With FullGap, we're giving our users the tools to scale what it is they're doing, which is in a way also finding their footing in their respective spaces, because the talent and the things people are passionate about is great, but it's not enough. You need to be able to combine it with structural excellence, which can be boring. But with FullGap, built based on insights we've learned in Fourth Canvas, we've been able to build something incredible. So Bolaji and I are co-founders at both companies. At FullGap, we have Segun Oroyo. Segun Oroyo was a part of Fourth Canvas on day one, dates back to about 10 years ago now. And so we've built a lot of incredible things over the years. All that journey started on campus in FUTA, and it's still an evolving journey. I enjoy telling my story, especially on Twitter. Over the years, I've also like advised and helped other founders tell their stories. So sometimes I'm referred to as the storyteller in the storyteller of the ecosystem. I can't own that title by myself. I'm not a fan of that title, but I think that alongside other incredible storytellers in the ecosystem, I have helped, to push a few other founders to express themselves as well. I've done it through speaking engagements and sharing this story of the impact of our work, of the impact of being visible, of the impact of being intentional about positioning yourself. So I think that quite summarizes me. I've danced around here and there, but you probably know a little more about me now. Off work, I'm a huge Coldplay fan and huge Cavemen fan. Of the big three, I'm the Burna Boy guy. Apologies to the other guys, to the FC guys and the. I mean, oh my god. Let me tell you what just happened now. So behind the camera is a Wizkid FC person, and he wanted to just cut the recording. So Wizkid is cool, and I like the video's personality, and they all make great music. But I'm the Burna Boy guy. I'm sorry. Yeah. What else? I love to play tennis. Tennis. I'm trying to learn golf. Yeah. And what is about me? I write well, I think. I could have been a writer. So if I wasn't everything I am now, I'd be probably have books I've written, like novels. I think I'll still retire to doing that. What else matters? Um, I'm a Christian and I'm grateful to God for life and for everything. Uh, what else do you want to know? I'm a huge Liverpool fan, please, and Mo Salah is the best thing to happen to the game. Yes, so you all can keep your Ronaldo Messi debates, or do off Ronaldo and Messi and with Messi. Yeah, but outside that, yeah, Mo Salah is the greatest thing ever. Mo Salah, Steven Gerrard, yeah, that's like greatness in football. Yeah, you never walk alone. Sometimes I get asked, how did I choose this path? And when I did, how did I know that this could potentially change my life? I mean, I was dropping out of uni, for God's sake. How did I know that this was going to work out? The truth for me is I did not know. So when someone asks me, I'm like, how are you sure that I knew? That they don't ask me, how did I know? The truth is, I did not know. I was, and I am, a very optimistic person. I had a few references of people who were in design and were doing fine. And I thought to myself, particularly for my field, this thing proves itself. If you're excellent at it, it's evidence to see. It certifies itself. It's its own certificate. That was my opinion. So I'm like, if I get really good at this, and as we started to understand it from more from the business side of it, it's like if it served customers really well and we did good work, I don't see anything that could stand in our way. But was I sure? No, I wasn't sure. So I typically don't have an answer for how were you sure? I wasn't sure. I just thought it should work well. And if it doesn't, I'll wake up and try something else. Maybe go into football coaching or something like that. If I had a mic to speak into the ears of the whole world, I'll tell everybody to calm down. Like everybody should calm down. Calm down on your hard opinions about what you think the world should be like. Calm down about your fixed opinions on what is right and what is wrong. I'm not asking that everything just becomes fluid, but I'm like, calm down and listen to the other person. Calm down and consider alternative ways. Like there are people locked in wars and battles that don't seem like they can end just because two different sides have extremely fixed opinions and are unwilling to find a third uh, a third option, you know. So and this applies both even in business. Like leaders have fixed opinions about their employees, and employees have fixed opinions about their leaders. Nobody is pausing to say, okay, what if this is not quite as bad? Or what if this person isn't fully responsible for this thing? What if I have a role to play? I would just say everybody should calm down and look away from. Most people seem to have their sights fixed in one direction. I'll just say, calm down and just check there. There are like 1,000 other views to exactly this thing you're talking about. Just consider it. Stay open. It will be about being open-minded, being willing to listen and consider um, disagreeing opinions and alternative opinions. That's what I would be speaking into the ears of everyone if I had a mic for everyone. I would be calling for us to stay open and consider other viewpoints. One interesting question I've been asked is, would I ever retire? I think I would retire from capitalism. Yeah, I'll retire from this businessmanness of inevitably trying to find how everything maximizing profits. I mean, I don't currently maximize profit at the cost or expense of important things that I care about, that everybody should care about. Ultimately, my primary job today still is to maximize profits, ultimately. And I would look forward to retiring from that. What would motivate that would be that, okay, I've maximized enough profits and used it to do more things that I care about, and then used it to invest in more things that can now continue to generate income, even when I'm no longer actively trying to maximize profit. So yes, I will retire from capitalism. I wouldn't retire from creating. I wouldn't retire from directing creative inputs. I wouldn't retire from writing. I would write more, in fact. I think perhaps I would retire from what I do now to doing more writing. Till the day of my death, I would continue to bring people together and say, let's talk about this, let's talk about that. Informally, especially, I think I can be the life of the party in a way, not just typical party, but like when people come together. And I think I want to keep doing that till I can no longer move my bones. So I would continue to be a creative director in some way. I don't even use the title now, but like that kind of describes me. And yeah, I would never retire from that. But I would retire from capitalism, and I want to as soon as possible. I've had different points of being aware of myself or learning something that has always been true about me, but then realizing it. One recent or not recent one is me realizing that I am not, I am not, in some way, for lack of a better word, I am not strongly opinionated on anything. And it can be a weakness. It can be a strength because it means that I am very flexible. I am able to listen to, just like I was saying now, if I had the ears of everyone, I would push them to be more open. So I can be maybe too open, really. And it means that I could be screaming for something today and I could be screaming for the opposite tomorrow because, well, I met someone who had a strong opinion or a strong argument and I bought it, and you wouldn't realize I just bought it because now I'm going to carry it on my head again. So I kind of realized that I could be that. It could really be a weakness, but it has also be a strength for me. It has made me super creative. I mean, who calls themselves super creative? What's that? Sorry. I mean, I'm confident in my creativity though, but like, I can be creative. I can come up with ideas really fast. I can come up with different and unique ways to do something. I can suggest ideas, and that comes from that not being opinionated. But it also means because on some things you also need a firm stand on some principles and some values. I think I have values that don't change though, but in some other ways I could be super fluid, and that could be also dangerous. So I try to keep around me, and I cherish my relationship with my co-founder because he's the opposite of that. He's very like, do you get? But it's a good thing. So we balance each other very well because while I'm dancing and dancing, you can say, no, this one is not changing. No, this one is not changing. So I think that's one awareness, just realizing that. And I think even starting from when we became co-founders, I asked him to be my co-founder. Yeah, he was already acting like one. It was just like we're already doing it together, but I've asked us to formalize it because I'm like, I really need this. Like, I have a weakness here, and this person has a strength there. So I think that was one very strong point of awareness for me. And I think we all have, everyone needs to be true to themselves. Say, this is not my strength. This one is my strength. So that you can balance it and also grow. So this thing I just said now, I'm also growing on it because, like, I'm 30, you need to also have some things that as you move on now, these are your things. Maybe that's why other people are not as open though, because they feel like I'm now 40, I'm 50. I have to have strong, hard, fixed opinions. They can then look stupid sometimes when they're holding on to some things. Although more often than not, they are wrong, they are right, and we think we're right, and then we dance around and come back to the truths they've been telling us. It's dicey. isn't it? One popular opinion that I completely disagree with is the idea that if you don't own your business, if you work as an employee somewhere, you sold your dreams in exchange of token of salaries, something like that. I completely disagree with it. I think that what matters is excellence. So whether you're an employer or an employee, or an employee on the way to becoming an employer, or an employee with the dreams of becoming an employer, or an employee that wants to always be an employee, we are just all players um, in a huge soccer match playing different roles. The goalkeeper will never be celebrated for scoring goals. The scorer will never be celebrated for saving sports kicks. It's just different people playing different responsibilities. Not everybody will be employers. It will work. Not all employers would be employees. Everybody matter, and whether you're an employer or an employee, it comes with his strengths, with his advantages, and its disadvantages. But I would say, even if you're desiring, if you look at entrepreneurs and the bosses in quotes, and you want to be like them, you need to know that even as being an employee is the best time to prepare for being an employer, because that's when you build a lot of skills you would need. That's when you build your network of your first investors or customers as an employer. That's where you start to build your reputation. So a lot of people up there, top CEOs in the world, have worked for several years in the finance industry or marketing industry or sales industry, and today they own businesses. So whatever it is you find doing, there's a quote that says, if you're going to sweep the ground, sweep it so well that the angels will look down and say, that man or that woman swept. That's it. Like, because no matter how or where society or your culture places whatever it is you currently do, if you do it so well, you have higher chances of achieving your dreams or moving on to something else that you've always desired. What matters is that whether you're employing or employee do it excellently well. Do it excellently well. No one is above the other in that sense. Everybody's playing a critical role in the grand scheme of building things. The word excellence can be, sometimes it's very simple to define, and it's also sometimes can be difficult. The more difficult question is, how do I become driven toward excellence? First, I am still on the journey myself, and it never ends. There's nobody who has now become the epitome of excellence. There are people we refer to as epitomes of excellence, but that's because, like, relatively to everybody else, these are the most excellent in that sense. I think for me, uh, taste is such a critical factor, because what you call excellence is also relative. And relative to what? Relative to what you have seen, what you've experienced. So I would say one of the most important things you can do for yourself is, as much as you can, increasingly put yourself in the midst of excellent people. As much as you can afford to, get yourself in excellent locations, or locations bringing excellent people together. And when you can afford that, if you could at least afford to read books, read things by people who have exemplified excellence. It's about increasing our exposure to excellence. And it's a gradual, continuous journey. You don't wake up and you're like, oh, I met this person yesterday, now I'm a sucker for excellence. It doesn't work that way. It's continuously moving close and close to excellent examples, striking examples of excellence in your field. And that's of the works themselves and of the people creating them. And you start to pay attention to the tiny little details that they pay attention to, which always goes beyond the work itself. Sometimes to the so much that goes before the work and beyond the work. Sometimes it's the process, sometimes it's the communication, sometimes it's the documentation, sometimes it's punctuality, sometimes it's planning, sometimes it's their daily routine, sometimes it's the things they read, sometimes it's a set of habits. So many things come together to make, when we say, that person, that's excellence, that's pure excellence. Yeah, but becoming that is going to be a lot of exposure to, well, excellence. We all want success, but failure is inevitable. Failure is closer to us than success. Failure is like around us, much more excited to embrace us. Why success is like what we're looking for, we're stretching out to achieve success. I know it sounds comforting. It just sounds like some of those things they say to comfort us when they say that, oh, it's not failure, it's an opportunity to learn. Or, sometimes you hear some of those quotes and you feel like it's just quoting it with eyes, but it's true. I read a book called Obstacle is the Way by Ryan Holiday, and it had strong references to how, for example, a lot of the world wars are regrettable. There are moments of adversity that we shouldn't have again. Like we don't want them because lives were lost. Like it will always be sad, regrettable events. As sad as they were, they gave birth to some of the most important inventions that define our lives now. It doesn't mean that the lives lost, were like worthy collaterals for those inventions. It would have been a better world if those wars that don't happen at all. Maybe we would eventually have invented those things. But it's that nobody wants failure. I don't want failure. But when we have failed, it is no longer reversible. Or when we are failing, and that's our truth, we need to focus on what that failure can be simultaneously giving birth to. And if we look well enough, failure always gives birth to wisdom. It always gives birth to clarity. It always gives birth to strength. It always gives birth to new opportunities. Failures can mean that we now know what will work, like quotes accredited to Thomas Edison. I now know, well, that's 99 or 999, I'm not sure, ways it won't work. It's not bobo, it is true. Failure can be good. Failure would never be desirable, but failure can be good. We can make the most out of failure. And I think that's how I would react to failure. That's how I would advise anyone to react to failure. First thrown, maybe dropped from a plane with parachutes on an island with people I don't know. People are there. I don't know them. I don't have money, Abby. I don't have phones. I don't have anything. Just like, what will I do? Okay, I speak the same language. Very important. If I don't speak the same language, I'll just be like this.
That's the only thing. That's the only thing you went with.
Language. I can hear them, you can hear me. Okay. First, I walk around town. Yeah. Skipping. No, I've dropped the parachute. Hopefully, I'm not naked as well. So, I walk around town, keeping a smile. Hello, hello. And when I find people having a conversation or a group, I would sit down and listen. I think I would spend, and this is my true answer. I mean, hopefully I'm not in that situation at all. But my true answer is I will spend the first few hours. I don't know where I will sleep on day one, but like I can say first few hours or days observing and listening, being a fly on the wall as much as possible. If I find sports that I can play, if I find people playing football that I can try, or tennis, or something like any activity that I can join, I'll try to participate. But for the most part, it will be a lot of observation so that I can then start to identify people who I can relate to. That is, people who like me. Yeah, people like me. For example, if I find some guy who's just dancing on the street, for example, or is like just maybe I find some guy painting, crafting something. I realize, okay, this guy might be, I can share, I might just get in there and say, oh, I like the color combination. Would you try this? And they'll be like, who's this guy? I'm like, oh, hi, my name is Victor. I was just passing by, I saw what you're doing. I have good opinions to give him, and that might create a friendship. So, yeah, the first thing I want to look for are friends. Yeah, first thing I want to look for are friends, and I'm going to look for friends by observing so that I find people I share common interests with. Maybe I see people dancing and I can dance and I'll join them. Hopefully they don't pour water on me, Yeah, so those will be my first attempts to survive. But how do I make money? How do I start to like afford anything? I think I would uh, I would No, here's the thing. The service I naturally get paid for today, I can't just randomly offer it on the streets on an island. It won't sell. I can't sell branding. So I would do exactly. So I would do what I would do would be very like a what dumbed down version of it. So in the sense of maybe I find a market stall and I see that this person is not selling well, that one is selling well. I might go to this person and say, you know what? Let's arrange these fruits, these brighter fruits in front. Let's clear this your frontage. Can I help you create a signage? Like I would try to, or maybe the signage is blocked. Or can I welcome customers for you? I think you guys have these frowned up faces. Let me welcome customers for you. And so it will have to be like a very, is it manual? Yeah, version of branding. The same branding that I currently do at the top level, it would be finding how I can help businesses directly, stores, market stores, to sell better. That's how I will survive. And I would say, you know, I might just bring them more customers today and tell them, should I come tomorrow? You know, would you give me a percentage of the sales, or would you at least guarantee my 3 meals for the day? That's my salary. Because the first thing is that I have food to eat and a place to stay, you know. So maybe I'll sleep under the stall on the table. My favorite items to own or to be gifted is a cup, mugs, especially ceramic mugs. I think they're one of the few things in our lives that still keep the art. Many things are now very dumbed down to just function, but mugs, especially unique mugs, I don't know, having that thing on my table and carrying it while I'm walking, it feels like the closest I can have to some art. Like my laptop, my desk, everything is like plain and focused on work. What I'm wearing is like everything is straightforward. Like our walls are painted white and plain. But with a mug on my desk, I have something that is expressive. And so I have a collection of mugs myself, and I will keep collecting. I really, like, give me mugs, please. You know, my favorite color is black. Black is a brand color for canvas. Black is my favorite color. You'll find me on other colors, but like black, then brown, and yellow. Yellow is like the brighter part of my colors. Yeah. My favorite book, I would say I always had one answer, but now I have two. It used to be The 8 Habits by Stephen Covey. And The 8 Habits is to help others find their voice. Yeah. So he wrote 7 Habits of Highly Successful People, then he wrote The 8 Habits. Not wasn't as popular as the first. Funny enough, I've not read the 7 Habits, but I read the 8, and that's my favorite book. But now it's like 2 books, because I read that way back, way earlier. And it's now paired with Shoe Dog by Phil Knight. That's the story of Nike founder Phil Knight, and read it. It's like it's incredible. I have read other amazing books like Emotion by Design, or is it Design by Emotion? Emotion by Design, by Nike CMO. The name is gone in this moment. Sorry. I've read. I read a lot of amazing books from Richard Branson, like A Virgin. Yeah. Yeah, a lot of incredible books. I only have 2 things on my bucket list. There are many things I desire in life, but like when they say bucket list is supposed to be like this thing, if I have it, if I experience this thing, it's like what I'm freaked by the bucket list is 2 things. It's just 2 things. A Coldplay concert. To be live in a Coldplay concert. To watch a home game at Anfield. Anfield is the stadium of Liverpool Football Club. And to be live and screaming and crying at a Coldplay concert. Just 2 things on my bucket list. There are many other things I desire, but like just those 2 things. That's like my bucket list. I mean, I'm sure I'll tick them off right next, I don't know, maybe 3 years. Yeah, 2, 3 years, I should tick those off. Yeah, so I will now look for new things. Global icon, like who do you want to be like, is Seth Godin. Seth Godin. I like his viewpoints. I like the way he expresses his thoughts. I like that his ideology on marketing and most other things, it has this focus on the core. It has this focus on depth. and not just width. Or he has this idea of going deep first before going wide. So I really love his opinions and how he expresses them, both in writing with his with Seth's blog as well as his speaking. Yeah, I like the yellow rimmed glasses he wears. His opinions with the purple cow. I love him. I just love him. I want to, um, and he's done and built incredible things and continues to share and advise builders to do better, like to achieve better results. So that's how I see myself. So Seth Godin is such an icon for me. On mentors, I have I've been privileged to be mentored directly and indirectly by a few people. Top on that list is Pastor Kola Oyeneyin. So many people don't know him as a pastor, so I would say Kola Oyeneyin, but yes, Pastor Kola Oyeneyin, depending on how you know him. I'm a member of the Adulam Nation, which is we're all PKO's mentees. He didn't announce us as mentees, but we adopt him as our mentor. But he really just brought us together in 2017, 100 men, young men, and then one more set in 2018, one more set in 2019. So we're like 300 men, young men, and he's structurally mentored us through sessions and programs. And I've also been privileged to have personal direct mentorship from him and his wife, TKO. Yeah, I was having a break in my head there because she likes to be called Topsy, but my mouth cannot call her Topsy because that sounds like what you call your friend. But that's what she prefers to be called. Yeah, so but TKO, yeah, so PKO and TKO. Chudeji Donwo. Chudeji Donwo. You know when they say someone discovered someone, or when you say somebody discovered River Niger, and you're like, River Niger has always existed now, but you know what it really means is someone from a different, how do I explain it, world, found out for the people in that world the existence of something else in another world, right? Oftentimes in like a higher, maybe civilization. I don't know if that would be appropriate for the white discoverers. Yeah, but that fits into the popular narrative. So yeah, I would say Chude discovered me because I was in Akure designing through Joel Ogunshola, who was his mentee. So I did some work for Joel, and Chude saw it and was like, "Who's this guy?" And now to the third person I was going to mention, Adebola Williams, Chude's co-founder. Adebola Williams was like, "We should do more with this guy," like because they just like my designs, and that was like my entry into Lagos. And they've been two of them have been incredible examples of co-founders, you know, of Red Media Africa, which then includes Winanja, Future Project, and I've had the privilege to see them up close, lead their team. I've worked with them directly. I've learned so many incredible things from them, different things. Again, just like Balaji and I, they're two very different people. One more extroverted, one more introverted. So it's been beautiful to learn from them in different ways. So when I think about my mentors, those three people come to mind first. Pastor Kola Inayi. So now four, Pastor Kola Inayi and TKO and his wife. And there is Chude Jidonwo and Adebola Williams. And brother, as he likes to be called, brother Mike Ogundele. I have not been in close touch for a few years now, but his impact was incredible in my uni years. He led the Akure, the Akure division of the Navigators, and we learned a lot, you know, going to his home, learning about the Bible, and beyond the Bible, teaching us about life values. They would teach us tennis as well. Bro Mike and his wife, Auntie T, were really, really, really incredible figures in my life. So I think that would sum up. I have been impacted incredibly by many other amazing people, but these people I just mentioned are the first people who would come to my mind when you say, who have been your mentors? Yeah. Of course, my parents. My parents are but no, they're not my mentors, like they're my parents. But talking about influence, it also with my parents. Like everything, all my values and qualities come from my dad and my mom. I grew up with a library at home, and I had access to books. And I had a lot of privileges thanks to the life that they had created, and yeah, a lot of me was shaped by my parents. So, but mentors would be those people I just listed. It's been such a huge privilege.